All right. Well, call the regular meeting of the county board to order. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Right. In the interest of time, I don't have any general comments tonight, and so we'll look at the citizens addressing the board. Anyone wishing to address the county board on an item not on the agenda may come forward at this time to be recognized by the board chair. Please state your name and address for the record. Comments are limited to 5 minutes. A personnel complaint against an individual county employee may not be heard initially at a board meeting. Personnel complaints may be submitted to the board in writing through the county administrator's office. A person addressing the board may not use profanity or vulgar language. Is there anybody wishing to address the board? Not seeing anybody, we'll move on to approval of the agenda.
Approve the agenda with the following changes. Move item 7J to 9A and move 7H to 9B and the administrative report to 9C.
Thank you. Do I hear a second? Second by Commissioner Carlson. Any discussion? All in favor of approving the amended agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right. Look for approval of the consent agenda as amended. Your motion to approve it?
To approve the amended agenda, consent agenda.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Carlson. Do I hear a second? Second by Commissioner Winger. Any further discussion on the consent agenda? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. On to the regular agenda. So item 9A is a natural resource management approval of the easements with the city of Bemidji.
Sorry. Item 8, if you wouldn't mind.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Current jail facility. Getting ahead of myself. All right, current jail facility condition review. So we addressed that or discussed it during the work session. We have a bid for doing that facility review. Is there anybody want to make a motion in a second and have discussion?
Mr. Chair, I'll make that motion.
Motion from Commissioner Sumner,
I'll second that.
a second from Commissioner Carlson. Discussion about the jail facility condition review. Anybody have anything they want to comment on?
Mr. Chair, I would just say, where I'm on the Design and Operations Committee, and I was quite surprised that the bid was that low. When Kraus Anderson came back, I guess we were kind of thinking we're going to be in that 20 to 30,000 range. And when Kraus Anderson came back with that, the DNO committee supports that and recommends that. So that's, yeah.
Thank you for that information, Commissioner Carlson.
Mr. Chair, I hope they don't come back with a revised proposal.
Too late.
Too late. All right. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of approving the jail facility condition review, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, that is approved 5-0. Now we're on to number 9A, which is a natural resource management approval of easements with the city of Bemidji. That is also something that we wanted to pull off and discuss.
Mr. Chair.
Yeah, go ahead, Commissioner Carlson.
I have a concern about the baseball fields and all the activity that's going to be going on around there. I think it would be helpful for us as a commission to have Sam Anderson come to our next board meeting and talk to us about the difference between the east-west corridor, the north-south corridor, and really let's get down to the nuts and bolts. I'm really concerned about the safety of the baseball fields.
Yeah, I am as well. I had both my boys were in baseball and I parked in the area that they were planning on blocking off there. And I think there'd be a lot more traffic north-south there. So I'm puzzled why the bypass wouldn't go through our fairgrounds property and that way and keep Middle School Drive more open. So I would agree with that. So I don't know if we table it to a future meeting or what?
It would be my preference that we table it until the next meeting on the 18th and have,
And see if Sam was able to
see if
attend.
Sam can attend
Okay.
and address that.
Would somebody else like to second that?
Second.
Okay. So all in favor of tabling that item until the next meeting, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, any opposed? All right. So the approval of the easement will be tabled until our February 18th meeting. So we're on to item 9B, which is the approval of resolution for township maintenance with City of Wilton. Commissioner Gould, you would wanted to pull that one?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I just wanted to abstain from the vote to avoid the appearance of a conflict of interest. I do have a vested interest in some residents there and the city, so
Okay,
I'm just gonna abstain from it.
okay, we'll do a roll call vote then on that. So if there's nothing else on that one, look for a motion to approve the resolution of the township maintenance agreement with the City of Wilton.
I move that, make that motion, Chair.
Motion by Commissioner Carlson, second. Second by Commissioner Winger. And if we can have a roll call vote, Diane, do you want to call for that or do you want me to? Okay, Commissioner Carlson,
Yes.
Commissioner Gould,
Abstain.
I will vote yes. Commissioner Winger,
Yes.
Commissioner Sumner,
Yes,
and it passes 4 with 1 abstention. Thank you. And on to the administrator's report. Administrator Barry.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have a little bit of a lengthy report, so it's probably fitting that we moved it to this meeting. But I'll try to move through it pretty quickly. This has been a tumultuous past few weeks for local governments in regard to what's going on at the federal and state levels, particularly in Minnesota. At the federal level, you're probably aware of many of the leadership shakeups, the national funding freeze that was on and then it was off. The uncertainty around several federal programs now and agencies. This has a lot of local governments, particularly in Minnesota, concerned. Much of our funding, and this was brought up a little bit earlier at the work session, much of our funding from the or for the county comes from federal and state reimbursements or program aid or those sorts of things. And as we talked a little bit earlier in the work session, we'll be pulling together some of those numbers for the board, and I'll present those at another time. It's essentially at the state level, you know, we had a $17 billion plus surplus, you know, not too long ago. And now that's swung to a $5 billion deficit in just a short period of time. This is concerning because many mandates were passed over that same period of time, which added costs to local governments, particularly counties that provide services on behalf of the state. And so our legislative platform, which, as you know, was an attempt to kind of push back on some of those and get some of those mandates corrected and such, has been stalled as well. We are hoping for relief through our legislative platform and our work at the state capitol to see a pushback or a correction. But with regard to what's going on at the state level, that's been very, very difficult to get any traction. Essentially, the Minnesota House remains at a standstill as the body's not yet produced a required established quorum of 68 members. And the Secretary of State, despite calling the meetings of the House 4 different times last week, with all GOP members showing up but no DFL members attending, they're not able to make any progress in that body. The Senate does continue to meet under a power sharing agreement, which is good news. However, there's concern that now that the DFL endorsed candidate was elected to the body in a special election last Tuesday, that maybe the power sharing agreement might be dissolved, and that might create additional challenges on the Senate side of things. We just really don't know how all this is going to shake out. But with those kinds of things going on at the State House, it makes it very difficult to get heard our issues on important matters that involve our residents and citizens and the like. And of course, we're not the only county or the city. Cities around the state are having the same problem as well. The governor's budget has also been something we've been watching very closely and is a very big concern for us, particularly with regard to what we've analyzed on the Health and Human Services front. There's been several service cost shifts that are have us very worried, I should say. The cost shifts do result in either an unrealistic or unaffordable increase to county taxpayers if they do move forward or advance, which is looking unfortunately more and more likely as we see what happens in both the Senate and the House side of things, and in regard to the fact that we are headed for a major deficit in the state budget. At this point in time, a high-level cost estimate of the state's Health and Human Services cost shifts to the county. Our particular county that the governor's budget's proposal has the potential to increase our county costs by about $2.6 million annually. That's significant. That's approaching a 10% increase in property taxes alone, just on that one, those several issues that are included. So obviously, this is a major concern to us, and it's something that we need to watch closely. Naturally, we are going to monitor what happens on this budget, and in particular, we've been already conversing with local area legislators. We've been conversing with the Association of Minnesota Counties, the Minnesota Rural Counties, and we've also mobilized our legislative lobbyists on this. This is probably one of the most significant cost shifts that we've seen in recent history. So it's very concerning. This will, of course, be top of mind when we go down to the Capitol as part of the Bemidji Day at the Capitol. It'll probably be one of the most important topics we can discuss. I mean, there's lots of things. So this kind of came out of the blue for us, and unfortunately didn't get included in our legislative platform initially because we weren't aware of these rollbacks and cost shifts that were being developed at the same time we were developing our legislative platform. Anyway, as I mentioned already, that Bemidji Day of the Capitol is on Wednesday, March 5th. I'm intending to go. If any of you are interested, let me know, and we can convey that information also to the Chamber of Commerce. Lastly, I was just going to mention that as a reminder, Monday, February 17th is a holiday. It's President's Day, and so offices will be closed on that day. That's what I have for you in regards to an update, and I'll stand for any questions you might have.
Anyone have any questions for Administrator Barry? Doesn't look like it. Thank you.
Thank you.
That moves us on to legislative and lobbying, and we'll just combine that with commissioner reports. Commissioner Sumner, do you have anything you would like to report on?
Thanks, Mr. Chair. Last Monday, I believe, was the Beltrami County Extension Committee meeting, and that was a pretty interesting meeting. I'm looking forward to meeting quarterly there. So thanks for the committee assignment. Thank you.
Thank
That's
you.
all I have for.
Commissioner Winger?
I was also at the same meeting. One of the things, there were a couple things that were really interesting. They should have a new education person hired soon. Sounds like they had a lot of applicants, which is really surprising, but they said they got some really great ones. And they talked about Audrey Roy starting one in Red Lake, and that's outstanding that they have some things happening there. And then Eva and Nate talked about what's called Super Shell. And I don't know if they've been here and talked, but it'd be great if they could get to one of our meetings and tell everybody about what that is, because it's really an outstanding project they got going. So hopefully that's something we can do in the future. Today, I did go meet with Kim from, excuse me, the Beltrami Area Service Collaborative, and she kind of filled me in on what all's going on there, because I'll be on that committee, and so we'll meet next week. But just kind of getting the rundown on what all they do and all the different services that are there, so I get an understanding. So that was really educational today too. So that's where I'm at.
Great. Thank you, Commissioner Winger. Commissioner Gould?
Yes, thank you. A couple of AMC meetings lately, mostly legislative updates and information. I attended a Joint Powers Natural Resource Board meeting last week. Updates from the DNR. I did the Chat About interview. There was a Northwest Minnesota Juvenile Center meeting. I was voted in as the next treasurer for the next year, so those will start towards the end of the month. The officers meet at the end of every month. And then the board meets every other month. I did a ride along with Deputy Summers on Sunday. Yeah, Sunday, and pretty uneventful. But learned a lot from him. Yeah, it was no serious incidents during my ride along, and it was but it was good. Kind of went different townships outside the city of Bemidji, and he kind of filled me in on his background, and it was good. Definitely encourage us to do that once a year if you can. Minnesota Rural Counties met on Monday morning. I zoomed into that. Some more legislative updates. And one thing that they mentioned was a couple of bills of concern that Senator Eichhorn has introduced that would kind of limit counties' ability to collect property taxes. It would set levy limits and kind of hinder the assessor's work a little bit. So I did contact a couple of Itasca County commissioners that I know to see what they know about it too. MRC didn't seem super thrilled about them, so we might have a couple of extra bills to pay attention to there. So that's it. Couple of meetings coming up in the next week or two.
Thank you, Commissioner Gould. Commissioner Carlson?
Thank you. Newsletter committee met. We have a February 14th deadline for articles. Diane always does such a great job of putting that all together for us. So thanks, Diane. Jail Design and Operations Committee met and we reviewed what you already saw. So we're looking forward to getting that started now that we've passed that resolution to have Carl Sanderson do the rehab look. I did zoom in with Joe on the Minnesota Rural Counties just because I had time and it's a Zoom meeting. So it was, and I share Commissioner Gould's concern about Senator Eichhorn's proposed legislation. I have a personal relationship with Senator Eichhorn, and I will be reaching out to him to ask him what his intention and what's really going on with that. So I will have maybe more to report on that at the next meeting. And then I had a visit with Turtle Lake Township folks last night just to get acquainted with them. Now it's new to my district, so that was a good evening. That's it.
Thank you, Commissioner Carlson. I had Mississippi Headwaters Board meeting and Planning Commission meetings, both of which we approved the plat that was on our consent agenda for Andrusia Shores, and we had another one that was a quite a bit earlier plat there, that we approved at the Mississippi Headwaters Board as well. Had a fair board meeting that was relatively uneventful, getting prepared for the next fair already, of course. Cass Lake Fire Association meeting. I actually recommended, we have a newer board member there. He used to be a firefighter. He got injured, was not able to be a firefighter anymore, but his dad actually used to be the fire chief there. He's got a long history of being involved with the fire department. And so I asked him and he was willing to step up to be the new chair of the fire association. So I nominated him and he accepted and got voted in as the new chair. I was voted as the vice chair, so I could kind of help him transition into that role, just to get more youth and he's on a township board in the Cass Lake area. So that's how he's on that board in the first place. So I think that'll be his name is Ryan Ripplinger, and he's the new chair of the Cass Lake Fire Association. And at the Mississippi Headwaters Board, we kept the same slate of officers, so I'm the vice chair of that as well. And that's my report. Anybody have any last minute things, or also look for a motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
What's that?
Move to adjourn.
Oh, you just about ate the microphone there, so I didn't catch it. So motion by Gould, a second by Carlson to adjourn. All in favor, say aye. Aye. We are adjourned.